Under a fine autumn rain, Nathan Caldwell, a widowed millionaire, watched Carol Larson descend the steps of the porch of his lavish home in Seattle. The porch light cast uncertain shadows on her face as she adjusted her canvas bag, her gaze tired yet resolute. "Carol, wait," he called out, breaking the silence. She turned around, surprised. "Is something wrong, Mr. Caldwell?" Nathan approached, the rain sparkling on his coat. "You've been leaving early lately. Where are you rushing off to?" Carol, impassive, replied, "My personal affairs, sir. My shift ended at 7 p.m. I'm free to leave." But Nathan, concerned, pressed on. "I heard your call last night. You sounded stressed, talking about a large sum of money. Is everything all right?" Carol stiffened, her voice tense. That was a private conversation. She tightened her grip on her bag. "If you don't trust me anymore, find someone else for Noah." Those words struck Nathan more than he would have liked. Without another word, she walked away, disappearing into the darkness. The house, a masterpiece of architecture designed to impress, felt emptier than ever. Nathan went inside, poured himself a scotch, and stared at the rain-streaked windows. Since the death of his wife, Jennifer, 3 years prior, he had built a life without surprises, a fortress against pain. But Carol, who had arrived 6 months earlier as Noah's nanny, had changed that. She had brought warmth back into their home, restoring laughter and innocence to Noah, a 5-year-old boy who had withdrawn since losing his mother. That morning, Nathan had seen Noah tugging at Carol's hand, asking, "Will you stay tonight until I fall asleep?" She had smiled, slipping a stuffed rabbit into his arms. "Not tonight, sweetheart, but I'll be back tomorrow, I promise." That moment had awakened a fragile hope in Nathan, but the call he had overheard, "I need it fast, I'll do whatever I can," had reignited his doubts. Nathan's black Mercedes glided silently through the rainy streets of Seattle, headlights off, following the bus where Carol had just boarded. The rain blurred the windshield, turning the city lights into silver streaks. With a pounding heart, Nathan felt guilty for this intrusion, but his suspicion prevailed. Carol was hiding something, and he had to protect his son, Noah. The bus plunged into the southern neighborhoods, far from the glittering towers of downtown, toward streets with cracked sidewalks and flickering streetlights. Carol got off in a rundown area, her canvas bag clutched tightly against her, and entered a worn building, the Hope Haven Community Center. Nathan parked across the street, watching through the fogged windows. A gray-haired woman warmly welcomed Carol, leading her into a brightly lit room where children played on worn rugs or drew with used crayons. Carol knelt among them, pulling out books and markers from her bag. A shy little girl approached, and Carol, patiently, helped her draw a flowered house, her genuine smile lighting up the room. When a boy sneezed, she wrapped around his neck the scarf she had been knitting during her breaks at home, a scarf she hadn't made for herself, Nathan realized. For an hour, he watched her read stories, adjust a coat, comfort a crying child, laugh with them. This was not a place of secrets, but a refuge where Carol poured out her heart. On the passenger seat, a box of pastries caught his attention. Without thinking, he scribbled a note, for the children, from someone who believes in them. He crossed the street, left the box at the entrance of the center, and returned to his car. Back in his office, Nathan opened his computer, discovering the modest website of the Hope Haven Community Center. Blurry photos showed volunteers, community dinners, and children's workshops. In one corner, Carol appeared, kneeling beside a child holding a paper heart inscribed with "Believe in yourself." The center was short on funds, donations were down, and the heating was failing. Nathan closed the screen, deep in thought. That night, he made discreet calls, and a shell company he used for anonymous donations transferred $50,000 to Hope Haven. He slept better than he had in weeks. The next day, Carol arrived, true to her routine, preparing breakfast for Noah. "Good morning, Mr. Caldwell," she said, setting down her bag. Nathan, pretending to sip his coffee, asked, "How is Noah doing with his letters?" She smiled. "He's making progress, even if he sometimes writes his name backward. He's proud of it." Nathan laughed, then more seriously asked, "What made you want to work with children?" Carol paused. "I grew up in a group home. No parents, no siblings, just social workers and bunk beds. A volunteer came every week to read us books and bring cookies. She only stayed a year, but I've never forgotten her." Her voice trembled. "I promised myself I would do the same one day." At that moment, Noah burst into the kitchen, waving a drawing. "Look, Miss Carol, I drew us at the park." A few days later, Nathan watched Carol read a story to Noah in the living room, her soft voice soothing the child nestled against her. When she finished, Noah ran to wash his hands, and Nathan approached. "You are really good with him," he said. Carol, surprised, replied, "Thank you." Hesitant, he continued, "May I ask you a personal question? The night I followed you, why hide what you do at Hope Haven?" Carol sighed. "Because people don't always see the good intentions. They see a distraction, a lack of professionalism. I was afraid you would think I was neglecting Noah." Nathan shook his head. "I find what you do remarkable." She sat down, hands crossed. "There's a girl, Lily, 9 years old. She lost her parents in a fire. She hardly speaks, avoids eye contact. The therapists say she needs regular sessions, maybe medication, but the center doesn't have the funds." Her voice trembled. "I work in a bookstore on weekends to pay for one session a week. That's why I leave early sometimes." Nathan felt a dull ache in his chest. "I should have never doubted you." Carol smiled faintly. "I grew up counting coins for milk. People assume you're lazy if you come from nothing. I didn't want to risk losing your trust." Nathan, moved, replied, "I understand. I lost my wife 3 years ago. Cancer, quick and cruel. After that, I closed the doors, wary of everyone. I thought safety was solitude." Carol looked at him, touched. "You've brought life back into this house," he added. "You've returned laughter to Noah and to me, hope." A heavy silence settled. Then Carol murmured, "Sometimes I wonder if someone like me can be loved." Nathan replied fervently, "You deserve more than love. You deserve safety, trust, respect." His words touched Carol, and for the first time, a deep connection was born, a fragile bridge between two wounded hearts. The living room is quiet, with soft lighting creating a warm and intimate atmosphere. One morning, the air in the house felt heavier, as if charged with a silent storm. Nathan, watching Carol prepare Noah's breakfast, took a breath. "Carol, I've been thinking. I want to offer you a new position. House manager, better pay, fewer hours. You would have time for your studies and Hope Haven." Carol froze, her hand hovering over the toaster. "I thank you really, but I have to decline." Nathan frowned. "Why?" She turned, her gaze firm. "Because I need to do this on my own. If I accept your help, I fear I'll feel small, as if it's all charity, not merit." Nathan, bewildered, insisted, "That's not how I see you." Carol murmured, "But that's how I see myself." From that day on, something changed. Carol remained professional, punctual, but distant. The morning conversations, the shared laughter faded away. She no longer read stories to Noah after her shift. nor asked Nathan how his weekend had been. The house, once warmed by her presence, felt empty again. Nathan tried to bridge the distance. "How is Lily?" he asked one afternoon. "She's doing better," Carol replied without looking up. "And your classes?" "Good." Her short answers were like a wall of glass. Nathan respected her boundaries, but the loss of their camaraderie haunted him. One night, alone in his office, he wrote a recommendation letter for Carol, praising her dedication, integrity, and impact on Noah and their home. He sent it anonymously to a prestigious foundation, accompanied by a note. Her past should not define her future. Help her achieve her dreams. On a Wednesday morning, Carol walked into Nathan's office, a file clutched against her. "We need to talk," she said, her voice firm. Nathan stood up, worried. "Of course." She took a breath. "I'm giving my notice. I've been accepted into a part-time university program in social work, and Hope Haven needs me for new services. It's time." The words hit Nathan like a blow. "You're leaving?" She nodded. "I'll stay for 2 weeks to train a replacement. Noah deserves a smooth transition." Nathan, his hands trembling, nodded. "I'm grateful for everything, Carol. You've been more generous than I expected." She hesitated, as if to add something, but thought better of it and left the room. That night, Nathan lay awake, the silence of the house amplifying his emptiness. He had thought that by supporting Carol, the donation to Hope Haven, the scholarship, he would build a bridge between them. But she had chosen to leave, and he wondered if it was her fear or his that separated them. In the following days, Carol remained professional, but the distance lingered. Noah, sensing the change, asked, "Why doesn't Miss Carol read stories anymore?" Nathan had no answer. One afternoon, he spotted her in the park near Hope Haven, reading to Lily, surrounded by laughing children. He approached hesitantly. "Nathan," she said, surprised. "I didn't want to disturb you. I needed to see you." They sat on a bench, Lily playing in the distance. "The night I followed you," Nathan began, "I was scared. I've seen people take advantage of me in the past. But what I saw at Hope Haven, you taught me what true kindness is." Carol looked down. "I knew you didn't trust me, and it hurt because I cared about you." Nathan, moved, replied, "Why didn't you tell me the truth?" "Because I was afraid of being seen as a cause to support, not as a person." He took her hand gently. "You were never a cause. You are everything." Tears welled in Carol's eyes. "I was scared too. Scared to love you and Noah because it's too big, too risky." Nathan squeezed her hand. "But it's real, isn't it?" She nodded, and for the first time, their fears seemed to fade away. The words hit Nathan like a blow. "You're leaving?" She nodded. "I'll stay for 2 weeks to train a replacement. Noah deserves a smooth transition." Nathan, his hands trembling, nodded. "I'm grateful for everything, Carol. You've been more generous than I expected." The link between Nathan and Carol, fragile yet real, began to strengthen. They talked more, sharing simple moments in the kitchen or the living room, where Carol read to Noah. One morning, Nathan found her in the garden, adjusting the coat of a laughing Noah. "You give him so much," he said softly. Carol smiled, a bit more open. "He gives me just as much." Inspired by their exchange, Nathan made another anonymous donation to Hope Haven, this time to fix the heating. When Carol learned the news, she gently confronted him. "It's you again, isn't it?" He shrugged, a smirk on his face. "Sometimes, good things happen to good people." She laughed, a rare sound that warmed Nathan. But the news of his departure still weighed heavily. One afternoon, he tried to reopen the conversation. "Carol, why refuse my help? You deserve support." She sighed. I've always had to prove my worth. Accepting help feels like admitting I can't do it alone. Nathan, touched, replied, You're not alone. You never have been. These sincere words made Carol waver. She began to open up, sharing memories of her difficult childhood, the teasing from other kids, dreams she thought were out of reach. Nathan, in turn, spoke of the loss of his wife, the loneliness he had imposed on himself and Noah. You saved us, he admitted. Carol, moved, whispered, and you've given me a reason to believe in myself. That evening, as she left for Hope Haven, Nathan slipped another gift by the door, books for the children at the center with a note, for the dreams that begin with a story. When Carol found them, she smiled, feeling that something greater than fear was growing between them, a budding love, built on trust. The Hope Haven Gala illuminated the ballroom, chandeliers sparkling above tables draped in white linen. Carol, in a deep blue dress, stood at the podium, her clear voice resonating. Tonight, I am here thanks to Hope Haven and extraordinary people who believe in its mission. She paused, her gaze searching for Nathan in the crowd. Someone special helped me believe that I deserved to dream bigger. Nathan, sitting near the stage, felt his heart race. As she concluded, thanking this unknown person, the host invited Nathan onto the stage. Amidst the applause, he ascended, his voice filled with sincerity. A few months ago, I supported Hope Haven anonymously because I saw a woman who embodies everything it represents: compassion, resilience, love. This woman is Carol Larson. The crowd held its breath. Carol, I'm sorry for not trusting you sooner. I fell in love with your kindness before I even understood it. I love you, and I want the world to know who you truly are. With tears in her eyes, Carol stepped onto the stage, guided by his hand. At that moment, Noah rushed in, embracing Carol. Mom! The word echoed, silencing the room. Carol, crying, held the child close, while Nathan wrapped his arms around them. They are my heart, he declared, my family. The crowd erupted in applause, a standing ovation. Nathan, kneeling, pulled out a velvet box. Carol Larson, will you marry me? Will you build a life with Noah and me? Carol, in tears, nodded. Yes. He slipped a ring engraved with their 3 names onto her finger, sealing their promise under the flashes of cameras. Then he announced the creation of the Carol Larson Scholarship Fund for orphaned and underprivileged children, a tribute to her devotion. The room exploded with joy, and Carol, overwhelmed, whispered, My family. That night, their love, born from distrust and pain, blossomed fully. A month after the gala, Carol, Nathan, and Noah walked along a Pacific beach, the setting sun painting the horizon gold. Noah skipped ahead, laughing out loud, while Carol, barefoot, held Nathan's hand. Hope Haven thrived under Carol's new leadership as she guided programs for children like her once. Nathan, having reduced his professional commitments, invested in causes that mattered. Noah, at peace, no longer had nightmares, his nights filled with stories and cuddles. Nathan stopped, pulling out a velvet box. Carol, will you marry me? Will you be our home? Inside was a simple ring adorned with a carved star. A star, she whispered. For hope, he replied. Carol, laughing through her tears, said, Yes, 1,000 times yes. Noah came running back. Are we a family now? Carol hugged him. We always have been, my heart. Nathan embraced them both, the trio framed by the sea and sky. On the sand, Noah drew 3 stick figures holding hands under a smiling sun, writing my family in clumsy letters. Nathan, moved, whispered to Carol, I was afraid to trust, to feel. But you were worth that leap. She snuggled against him. You too. Their love, forged in pain and distrust, had become a quiet strength, a refuge. That night, under the stars, they knew their future, though uncertain, would be built on love and trust, one step at a time. The life of Nathan, Carol, and Noah blossomed in a new harmony. Hope Haven, thanks to Nathan's donations and Carol's energy, became a beacon for the forgotten families of Seattle. Carol, now a social work student, juggled her classes and her role at the center, supported by the anonymous scholarship Nathan had arranged. He, having found purpose in helping others, grew closer to Noah, spending evenings playing and laughing, rediscovering the joy of being a father. Carol, freed from the fear of judgment, opened up more, sharing her dreams with Nathan. One evening, in their living room, with Noah asleep between them, she whispered, I never believed I could have a family like this. Nathan smiled. Neither did I, but you showed us it was possible. He handed her a notebook where he had written words for Noah. You are stronger than you think. Being kind is the greatest courage. On the last page, he had written, You are my inspiration. Carol, in tears, hugged him tightly. Their love, born from misunderstanding and mistrust, had transformed into a lasting strength. On the beach, weeks later, they watched Noah play, his laughter mingling with the sound of the waves. Thank you for seeing me, said Carol. Nathan, holding her in his arms, replied, Thank you for teaching me to see. Their story, marked by pain, fear, and redemption, had become a testament to the power of trust and love. Together, they had built more than a family, a future where hope triumphed over the wounds of the past, a beacon for all who dared to believe in healing.